Welcome, race fans, to the Kentucky Speedway tonight. It's December 30th, 2017, and as the year comes to a close, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in so far to any BSI TV broadcast to date. There's been quite a few in just a few months, and we've grown exponentially. Today we hit 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I want to thank everyone for subscribing over there, and not too long ago we hit 1,000 likes on our Facebook page, so a couple of milestones recently as the year comes to a close. But to finish off 2017, we've got one more broadcast here tonight with the iRacing Weekend Warriors Cash Payout Races group. These guys all paid $5 to get a little piece of something when the race is over, and I've got Brendan Elshoff alongside of me tonight. As always, it's Andrew Cardinelli up here on the mic. And Brendan, I know you weren't here last week, but it was a pretty fun race. Another mile and a half just like this, but it was Atlanta. And two very different racetracks. How do you think that'll come into play tonight?
All that, and should be a lot of fun to race. Just got to watch out for everybody else around you.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different obstacles that come into play with each track, and tonight, obviously there's not a whole lot of banking in these corners. There's enough to keep you from, spinning out or anything like that, but it's a pretty flat track. It's pretty tough to get around this place and do it quick. But these guys seemed to be pretty darn good last week, so we'll see what these guys are like here tonight. We'll go around the field, get a look at some different cars out there tonight. We are in the NASCAR trucks, just like last weekend, at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we'll get a couple of looks. Last week's winner, Daniel Falkingham, in the number 82 Hooters Chevrolet. He's back out here, and currently he is 5th on the speed charts in practice, and it looks like we've got 5 minutes left in practice here, Brendan.
Yeah. Pull over for a 15-minute qualifying session. You got 2 laps to put a time down.
And unfortunately, OBS is a little bit picky with the screen choosing, so we'll be right back. We're going to go to a commercial break. I'm going to sort out the screens real quick, make sure we've got the ticker on here for y'all, and we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here. So here we are in northern New Hampshire, where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133, and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo reference and sound recording. Then we're back to the office to build this sucker. When we're done with this project, we'll have the most authentic tractor ever built. Take that, farming simulator. It'll take some time and a lot of company resources, but we can definitely say this Porsche will be ready to launch sometime in the future.
All right, well, thanks for sticking through all that. We've got a minute and a half left here in practice, and it's still Liam Brotherton up on top of the scoreboards, but looks like he may not be in the session currently. Thomas Haley would be your quickest driver that's still out there in the number 31 car. Looks like he has put 50 laps down. James Curl would be third place here, Brennan, and Jonathan Mazzella in the 5 and 4th, with Daniel Falkingham, again, last week's winner, currently in the 5th spot.
Next place we'll have Kenneth McCullough Jr. Seventh going to Jim Ott at the moment. Ryan Boyd in 8th. Kelsey Rogers in 9th. Brett Elmore in 10th. 11th, Tony Boyd. Then CJ Gates in 12th. Craig Blair in 13th. And Gregory Sager in 14th.
And we will have 75 laps of racing tonight from the Kentucky Speedway. This will be the Bluegrass 115. Again, you got to thank the iRacing Weekend Warriors group for bringing us on board for some more races. And we came to a deal with them recently to do a bunch more races throughout all of 2018. So once more, got to thank those guys for bringing us on board to do that. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And Brennan, looks like you may be with me for quite a bit of the ways.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it's fun to go on board and do these all the time. So plan on doing them definitely as long as I can.
We'll certainly have you along as long as you'll do it, and practice has just ended here with Liam Brotherton on top of the board, and Thomas Haley, the highest of the drivers that was still, I believe, in the session when the session rolled over to qualifying. So now these guys will have a few laps to go out there and set the best lap they can. So, Brennan, you've run a few of these races with me, and presumably a bunch more on your own. So, in your own words, how important exactly would qualifying be for this race?
Definitely, obviously, you want to qualify the best spot you can. Like, see the best run out there at the beginning. If you can keep it up front, there's a likelihood we could see a lot of green flag action. I don't know, it's kind of a tough track for that, but first in, first out on the pits still, and it's always fun. A lot better feeling being up front all night than fighting your way up from the back, I'd say.
Yeah, it may not be the most important because that first run, generally you'll end up with some kind of hiccup and either be able to shuffle your way up to the front while some others get shuffled back, or you'll catch a quick caution and be able to move up. Or, of course, you could always just get a lucky green flag pit stop where you're able to gain a lot of spots and move up through the ranks that way.
Yeah, definitely. Track, obviously, I'm not super familiar with it. Just actually bought it tonight, but obviously from the flatter banking, I do expect probably we'll get a few cautions. If you said they're a pretty good group of guys, so hopefully they can do a pretty good job of keeping it clean. But definitely looks like a tough track to keep it together on.
And so again, if you want to join in with these guys, we'll be broadcasting most of their Saturday night races throughout 2018, and you can go to their Facebook page or their Facebook group, and that would be the iRacing Weekend Warriors Cash Payout Races group or page on Facebook, either one. So you can like their page, join their group, and get all the info about these races in advance. They're only $5 to run, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's totally worth it, I think, to go and have a chance at getting some money because you race on iRacing.
It definitely it incentivizes you a little bit more to maybe play it a little more cautious during the race too when there's line, especially in just regular old hostess sessions. You might join that. People tend to drive a little bit more carelessly when there's not money.
Yeah, a lot of leagues have started going to the payout system, I guess, where drivers can get some cash for, obviously running clean rather than, dirty and causing wrecks. So, the money is a good way to incentivize drivers to really be on their best behavior throughout these races. So, I'm not sure about the exact numbers on what first, second, and third we'll get tonight, but it's always based on how many drivers enter. So, they take the pool of money from the $5 entry fee for these drivers and they put that together into, a pool, and they split that between third place, in tiers. So first, for example, could get $10. Second could get, I don't know, 5, and then third could get like 3 or something like that. And those are just arbitrary numbers that I just pulled out of nowhere. So, they take what they've got and they split it up as evenly, or not as evenly as they can. Sorry, but by tiers from first, second, and third. So, Brennan, as these guys get qualifying, I'm working a couple things to fine tune this the broadcast real quick. But can you give us a quick rundown of the field right now in qualifying?
At the moment, we have Thomas Haley with the pole. He's going to be followed by Jonathan Mazzella in second. CJ Gates is going to take third. James Curl in fourth. Daniel Falkingham in fifth. Jim Ott in sixth. Elmore in seventh. Craig Blair in eighth. Ninth going to Kelsey Rogers. And the last person put down a time right now is Gregory Sager.
So some relatively close times. The first 5 within a tenth and a half of each other, really a tenth and a quarter of each other. So that's going to translate into some good racing, hopefully, for this race. We've got, looks like a majority of Chevrolets is normal in the truck field. And actually, Liam Brotherton to the top of the board in his number 41 Toyota. And he's really going to mix it up. He actually took that pole by over a tenth of a second. That's a wallop of a time. And real quick before we get going with tonight, just want to thank all of our sponsors for making these broadcasts happen for us. iRacing Drivers World, obviously this group here, the iRacing Weekend Warriors Cash Payout Races group, the NMNTS Racing Series All-Star Sim Racing, the Dirt Racing Challenge Series Race Agent, TN Designs, Scott Brotherton Images, Pit Stop Insider, all of these different groups that make it happen for us. Got to thank you all as the year comes to a close. I believe this will be our final broadcast of the year, considering there's only about, at least for Pacific time, I think we've got, 30 hours left in the year. So, as the year comes to a close, Brendan, just once more want to thank you for coming out here and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
And if you have any questions out in the chat, go ahead and ask them. We'll get to those as quickly as we can. And actually, just want to mention, since our Facebook page hit 1,000 likes just recently, I think about a week ago, I want to say, we are doing a giveaway. And that will conclude at the K-Vegas Snowball Derby on Saturday, January 6th, 2018. They'll be broadcast here on PSI TV. And we'll be doing a drawing, giving away some stuff, David Levine Racing Hero Card, some wallpapers based on your favorite racing driver. Could be NASCAR, could be F1, anything you want, really. We'll get it sorted out for you. Heck, even if it's an iRacer, we'll get it sorted out for you. As well as some gear from the RTK Motorsport Group. They're a local racing team. I'm honestly not sure where they're from, but they're branching into the sim racing world, and that's really cool to see a real racing team going head-to-head with drivers on the sim racing world. So some free stuff up at hand, basically. It's worth it to enter. All you have to do is find that post on our page, go ahead and like it, share it, and then just comment done when you're done, and you're entered, and we'll take the drawing. There'll be 3 winners that night at the K-Vegas Snowball Derby, Brennan. So as qualifying comes to a close here, I'm not sure about the exact amount of time left, but I know there's not a whole lot. Liam Brotherton has vaulted himself to the pole with a 31.56, and Thomas Haley an entire tenth and a quarter almost behind him in the number 31 truck, with Jonathan Mazzella in third. CJ Gates currently gridding up in fourth, James Curl in fifth, and Daniel Falkingham, last week's winner in the Hooters Chevrolet, in the sixth spot, Jim Ott in seventh, Rocky Boyd in the eighth spot, Kenneth McCullough Jr. in ninth, and Brett Elmore in 10th.
Tony Boyd in 11th, and 12th going to Craig Blair. Kelsey Rogers in 13th, and going to round out the field is going to be Gregory Sager, as we are.
So we've got about 14 trucks on hand tonight. I'll try and get this radio button out of y'all's way. Give me just a moment there. Try and get that dealt with. might be a little bit picky, might be up there for a while. We'll try and get that sorted out. But your grid for tonight going to be Liam Brotherton on pole, like we mentioned. Thomas Haley to his outside. And the third spot will be the number 5 truck of Jonathan Mazzella. And we'll actually get him on screen here for the start of the race. To his outside in row number 2 will be CJ Gates. In the 5th spot will be James Curl out of Florida, with Daniel Falkingham to his outside out of New England. In row, that's the wrong graphic. I apologize for that one. Misclicked. So in row number 4 there, it's going to be Jim Hunt in the number 3, and Rocky Boyd in the number 25. I just messed up. In the 9th spot will be Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Brett Elmore in 10th to his outside of row number 5.
Out in row number 6 will be Tony Wood, followed by Craig Blair to the outside. And then row 7 will be Kelsey Rogers and
Well, Brennan, I think we're going to go on board the number 5 here for the start, but we've got quite a few paint schemes out there that are looking pretty good here tonight. And yeah, that actually brings us to a good point. Sorry, Colby's Eye Paints, BA Graphics, TN Designs, some 3 really good places that you can go to if you're looking for an iRacing paint or graphic. They can cover you pretty cost effectively. So you can go to, again, TN Designs or Colby Eye Paints or BA Graphics. Those 3 I think are some of the best. And as we get ready to head off of the grid here, we'll get on board with the number 5. That's going to be Jonathan Mazzella starting off in the 3rd spot. So we've got a plethora of onboard cameras here tonight. We'll go through some of them now. Obviously, we've got the traditional onboard camera atop the roof of these trucks. We also have a nose camera on all trucks here tonight, with a rear bumper camera as well. You can get a look back at that number 51 truck. We've got a few more here. This is looking out the rear window. Another one just behind the left side B pillar. Got a gyro cam looking at the driver for interviews. Got a camera mounted on the right front of the truck, right in front of the A pillar, as well as one right in front of the rear spoiler on the Chevys, and I believe that's different on the Toyotas. But we'll get to that bridge when we get there. For now, though, we're going to go to the traditional onboard camera here with Jonathan Mazzella as these guys take the green flag. Brennan, it's your call.
here, pace car dip in here. Getting stacked here. Away.
Immediately, Liam Brotherton dropping down to the bottom of the track there, trying to get a run, and actually the 51 going to take Jonathan Mazzella 3 wide as Daniel Falkingham drives to the bottom, and he's going to try and make a move on the 31. He's going to get second spot already, and that number 51, that's going to be, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the number on my list here. That's going to be the number 51 of James Curl, already moving up into the 4th spot, and he started in, I believe, 5th.
Yep, 5th. Need everything sorted out here. We're starting to form up into one big singular line.
Liam Brotherton just rocketing away so far. Already has a pretty decent lead on the field down to, or back rather, to the number 82 of Daniel Falkingham, last week's winner. We'll have to watch him as he comes in and gets ready for tonight's race. I mean, it's going to take a little bit for these guys to kind of settle in and really get used to the track. It's hard to immediately just from lap 1 be the best, but Liam Brotherton trying to do just that right here, right now.
So he put down a monstrous time in qualifying here. It's almost a whole 10th quicker than his actual practice times there, so I think he's got the track figured out.
Yeah, Liam Brotherton already just rocketing away in that number 41 Toyota Tundra, and he's got a pretty decent lead already, about a half a second over that 82, but that's not, I mean, that's nothing to be, I guess, disappointed about, but it's also not the greatest, because even if you're a half second away, that driver behind you can get a bit of a draft, and that's going to help them catch up to you over a long run. And with how air dependent these trucks are, they punch a big hole in the air. So if you can get just a little bit of draft, it'll help you out a lot. Number 31 down to the inside of the number 82. Daniel Falkingham is trying to hold off that number 31, and he will for now.
Be able to get a little bit more of a lead here as they're going to battle it out. Looks like 31 not quite able to catch him up to him in that corner there. So we're going to style.
Thomas Haley really trying to get a run on this number 82 so far. It's laps 5 of 75 already. These guys have 115 miles total tonight, and they've already gone through quite a few of those. But this number 31 really trying to use the track to his advantage, looking for some grip, and he's found it so far. He actually got a run on the 82 down the back straightaway there, and he's gaining on him. He definitely, I think, has the truck to get by that number 82 of Falkingham, but he's got to find a way around him. It's hard to do here at Kentucky because the corners are so flat. We've gone over this a bunch already. The corners are just so flat, you try and pitch it off into the corner on the bottom side, and it just doesn't really want to stick. So you really got to be careful with how you pass here at Kentucky. It's not an easy thing to do.
And so I think also you can kind of tell here because, like I said earlier, they're pretty much going to run one single line. It looks like here it's line of driving. You can't really put it out there too wide and make it stick.
Yeah, by no means is it easy to go too wide with another driver, and 3 wide on restarts is even harder to do because there's so little room coming out of the corners. The truck, or even the car in the Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Cup Series, they just want to wash up to the wall naturally, and you'll see some of these guys possibly when the track rubber's in start to move up the track. We'll watch for that black groove when these guys get some rubber down on this racetrack. Currently, though, I mean, these guys haven't really put much on it. And the track, you can see, is still a very light gray. But once you start to see that black groove rubber in, that's when you have to start watching for these guys to move up higher on the track. You really can find a lot of grip because I believe this track, before it was repaved, still had some progressive banking. So, you can really find a lot of grip up high.
Yeah, and the smaller field like we have tonight's not really going to accelerate that or progress the rubber coming in as quickly as like a full-size field would, so it may take a little bit longer than expect for here.
Yeah, we've only got about 14 trucks on hand, which, hopefully once we actually get into the racing season, that'll pick up to about, 20 or 30 like you might normally see. But 14 drivers, still a relatively decent field. Still a lot of skill mixed throughout. And it's a tough field to deal with, no matter who you're racing with. It could just be against one other guy. But then you're racing heads up, and any mistake you make will move you from first to last. So actually, we're seeing, it looks like Thomas Haley moved up a couple of, oh, no, he didn't. Falkingham was blinking out. Haley is still in the 3rd spot. And yeah, the 82 is blinking. You can see the 51 keyed up. We'll turn that off now that it's actually working. But yeah, the 82 blinked out for a second there, Brendan.
That's not what you want to see with the guy right in front of you is connection issues. It's kind of hard to tell where they go sometimes, especially if it's a prolonged blink like that. Sometimes you're just better off just backing out of it a little bit. That way, if they reconnect, you're not inside of them, and then you cause a big wreck. Like
contact! Thomas Haley just went for the move down in turns 3 and 4. He washed up just a little bit. The lack of banking really just pushed him up into that number 82. They made contact. They're going to drive out of it, though. Just a bit of wheel-to-wheel action. I don't think it's really going to hurt either truck. You can see a bit of right front damage to the 31, but nothing serious. All they did was bang fenders. They'll drive away from it, and now it's going to be the 51 on attack on that 31, and oh man, room is going to run out quick. That 31 is going to lose a couple of spots. He's going to lose now 4th place to Jonathan Mazzelli. He's going to go on by. Mazzella now back into the 4th spot, and James Curl going to take over 3rd. I mean, I guess just getting up into that number 82 maybe just slowed him down enough for these guys to attack on Thomas Haley, and that ended up in Thomas Haley losing a couple spots in that Rush Truck Center Chevrolet.
big beneficiary out of that little bit of contact there is going to be the Liam Brotherton. He's really starting to make a big lead now, almost have it up to a whole second now ahead of.
Yeah, already nearly a tenth of a second lead, or sorry, a full second lead I don't know what I was saying there. About a full second lead over second place that Liam Brotherton has. Liam Brotherton really just pulling away in that number 41. It's like he's just dancing his own jig, and these guys are trying to figure it out. But he is really just driving away. We'll switch up to that number 41 now and look back at these guys. He has really pulled a pretty nice lead, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see him kind of relax and just find a groove and probably wait for this run to be over with and, wait for these guys to have to pit or a caution to come out, whichever comes first.
Yeah, I think game plan and for a lot of people, just go out there, be aggressive towards the start, just get yourself settled in afterwards, and just run the car out, save the tires a little bit, see if you can make it guys ahead of you, and hope that way.
You can see the battle ensuing behind these guys. Daniel Falkingham trying to hold on to that second spot, but you got James Curl really working that bottom side trying to get by him. James Curl hasn't found the spot just yet. He almost had the nose ahead of Falkingham that time at the line, but he's going to have to fall back off into turn one. Now he's going to try the pass again. Doesn't get it. Actually, he will get it completed. Daniel Falkingham going to move back to the third spot. Now under attack from Jonathan Mazzella. With 15 laps out of the way already here tonight in the Bluegrass 115. We're going to take a quick look through the field. So up to the front, it's going to be Liam Brotherton in the first spot, really running away with this race so far in the number 41. He's got about a second and a half lead over James Curl. He's really just setting sail, checking out on these guys, kind of Tyler Justice style, and looks like the number 51 is going to try and say something about it. He actually just made up a little bit of time, but it's going to take a lot more than a tenth at a time to try and get up to that 41 car. So James Curl, as I just mentioned, is in the second spot. He's trying to find any room he can to, advance on the 41 and leave the 82 in his dust. Right now, he's actually looking like he might do that. He's starting to gap the 82 by just a little bit. He's really driving it hard into the corners, and it's starting to work out for him. The 82, Daniel Falkingham, currently running in third with Jonathan Mazzella right on his bumper in fourth. And Falkingham was last week's winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is a relatively similar track, but only in the sense that it's a quad oval and it's a mile and a half long. Other than that, the similarities pretty much end. I guess you could say they're relatively similar in that they're both very, very bumpy. Kentucky and Atlanta both, but that's about all you can find for similarities between Atlanta and Kentucky. Moving back to the fifth spot, though, we're going to have Thomas Haley in the 31, and he actually looked really strong right at the start of the race, and he started to fall off after making some fender-to-fender contact with the 82 truck of Falkingham, and now he's starting to probably solidify himself in fifth place for a little while. He's got a pretty good gap back to the number 3 truck, and Brendan, I'll give it to you there with Jim Ott.
Righty, and we have Jim Ott currently in 6th. He's got some open air here. He's actually about 4 seconds back from Thomas Haley, so plenty of room here to make up for him. Second and a half. After him, about another
spot is going to be Kenneth McCullough in the number 14 Georgia Bulldogs truck. He's trying to fend off that number 92 of Craig Blair right now, and these guys are looking to have a bit of a heated battle get on here. The number 92 is some front-end damage possibly from the 14. Don't know, didn't see it. But he's trying to make the move on McKellar. He's not going to get it that time, and these guys are going to keep battling for a few laps.
Actually, we just spoke about there. Jim Ott actually lost a bunch of time. It looks like he got loose coming out of, I think it was turn 2. McCullough, is just about 3/10 behind him. Actually going to look like possibly going to make a run here. Turn 3 on.
McCullough has left Craig Blair in his dust. Now he's going to go on the offensive with Jim Ott and that Exalta Chevrolet. He's really trying to get a line on him, but it's going to be hard. We've talked about it all night so far. There's really only one groove until this track rubbers up and you get some grip on the top side. But now McCullough going to use the crossover, get down to the bottom side of the number 3 and go for the move off into turn 1. But continuing through the field, Rocky Boyd, currently your 9th place driver, in the number 25. With relative, I'm not sure how they're related, but Tony Boyd in the number 52 right behind him. These guys are running 9th and 10th. In the 11th spot will be Brent Elmore in the number 9, and he's actually battling with the number 4 truck of Kelsey Rogers as they dive off into turns 3 and 4. Kelsey Rogers getting awfully close to that number 9, and they'll sort it out there. No contact made, no harm, no foul. as they'll move on.
These guys a little bit earlier in the race together, and they race really close together. They're managing all in one piece though, so props to them. They're not quick strucks out there, but they're go for you back here. Well,
And continuing through the field, we've got the number 13 in P13. That's going to be CJ Gates, running a bit off pace, but he's just maintaining what he's got to do right now. He's just got to make it to whatever break he gets first and try and keep in this race on the lead lap, and he's doing just that so far. In the 14th and final spot, it's going to be Gregory Sager. I'm not sure what happened to him. Looks like maybe he pitted a little while ago. Looks like he has made one pit stop. And so he is a couple laps down in the Pennsylvania truck. But back to the lead now with a 2.3 second lead is going to be Liam Brotherton at number 41. And we'll actually move back to the battle behind him. James Curl has fallen to the back end of this little train as Daniel Falkingham has solidified himself in the second spot. So as we continue to watch this battle, Brennan, it's really hard to say who's going to get the better of each other here. I mean, these guys have been on top of each other since the start of the race. Do you think there's any really better driver in this mix?
I don't know. They've kept it 2 and 3 there, like you said. Their lap times are super close, within about 700ths of a second there. So I mean, they're both driving pretty well. Unfortunately, not just quite enough to get up to Liam yet. About a 10th quicker than they are still.
Yeah, these guys are pretty even. They're kind of just running in a train right now, and that's pretty easy to do with these NASCAR trucks. There's a lot of air dependency with these things, and if you get just a bit of damage, it can really slow you down. So, I mean, they're pretty much just on top of each other. Their trucks are still clean, aside from that one bit of contact with the 82 and the 31 a little while ago. But as now we get to 50 laps to go, it means we're a third of the way through this race already. These guys are clean and green, and I think this has been the most exciting battle on the track, really, for second place. For a while there, it was second through fifth, but now the 31 has fallen off. It's going to be Thomas Haley into the fifth spot in the number 31. But these guys right here, these three Chevy Silverados, have just been in a train, and because of the draft, that's basically why they're sticking to each other like this. And you'll see them try and make runs like Jonathan Mazzella is here, but I'm not sure if he can find a way around that 82 just yet. Jonathan Mazzella going for the move. He's not going to make it stick just right to get the spot just yet, but he's going to have another run at him possibly in turn 3 this time. He's trying to find a way around Daniel Falkingham, last week's winner. He's going to back off, not make the move into turn 3 just yet, but now we've got, it looks like it's going to be James Curl trying to get to the outside of the Mazzella now. James Curl, I think, will complete that pass and possibly go on to, he's going to complete that pass and go on to make a run now at the 82 here in a lap or so. We saw him try it a little while earlier. Brendan, do you think it'll work this time?
I don't know. It's tough to keep it pinned down there like that, as we're seeing the trucks, as you mentioned, like to slide up a lot. So you gotta time it just right, I think, to get it there, and just hope that the guy to your outside is giving you a decent amount of room to make the move. And like this, it's definitely not gonna happen. So.
Well, so far, James Curl sitting right behind that number 82, but now he's going to go for the inside. He's going to try and get that nose down there through the front straightaway, and he will. He's going to get his nose down there and try and make a pass off into turn 1. He's got the spot down low, but I don't know if he's going to be able to even get his nose ahead. He's going to start sliding there, and exactly, he's not going to be able to complete that pass. Going to fall right back in behind the number 82 of Daniel Falkingham and try and gear up for another run at him.
Fortunately, though, he's able to hold the position, though, as we saw Mazzella earlier try to make the same move there, and he actually ended up losing to James Curl.
Yeah, it's really common to see a guy make a move and it's not going to work out, and then if we have this kind of draft line like we have here, just like on a plate track, like at Daytona or Talladega, you'll fall to the back of that line normally because you end up getting clean air to the front of your car. It's going to slow you down because of drag. It's just basic aerodynamics, and you end up slowing down, getting out of a rhythm, and you just go right to the back of that pack. That's why we saw Mazzella lose that spot to James Curl just a little while ago. And now James Curl still trying to find a way around Daniel Falkingham. And it's going to be hard because obviously you're going to have to dip out where you don't have the draft to help you out. You don't have that little negative airspace behind the 82, so it's going to be hard for Curl to make that pass, but he's definitely trying.
Definitely, this has to be eating up your tires here. Where before I kept the green flag, it's probably a high possibility we're going to see a pit stop here.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if these guys split the race up into about 2 parts. It's not even 80 laps, only 75 laps out here tonight, so I think they'll only have to make 1 pit stop under green, and that should be at about lap 38. Currently, we are on lap 32. So, you know, we still have a ways to go before they have to pit, but James Curl right back to the bottom trying to find a way around Daniel Faulkingham.
Still not quite working for him. I almost wonder eventually here if he just back out of it just to save the tires a little bit. Before it's been green flag, and we haven't seen really any incidents that even possibly could have brought out a caution yet. The only thing probably with Thomas Haley was about the closest thing we've had to one yet.
So as these guys start to pull away from John, actually he's going to give the spot up. That's going to be Faulkingham giving the spot to James Curl, but now we'll see if he tries to pull the crossover through turn 2 down the back straightaway. He doesn't get there to do it. So it looks like Daniel Faulkingham maybe just didn't feel like trying to fend off the 51, didn't want to have to deal with the dive bomb and trying to defend it, so he's going to give the spot up to the 51, sorry, move the 82 back into P3. And just before that happened, I was going to mention, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea for Mazzella to just sit back, kind of like you mentioned, and kind of save his tires, wait for something to happen ahead of him and try and capitalize on it then, but you know, we saw what happened there. James Curl finally got by the 82, and that may have just been a move of sportsmanship, you know, seeing that maybe James Curl was faster, giving him a shot to try and go run down that 41 truck, and that brings me up to, you know, the giant lead that Liam Brotherton now has on the rest of the field. It's jumped up to about 4 seconds. It's really incredible how he's just pulling away right now.
Definitely got a quick truck, and then these two back here racing each other. Like, this is actually looks like James Curl did bring down the time a little bit. Got about 400s to the second off, so at least it's the positive direction. Actually, had a blink issue there, and it's showing the truck has some damage now. I don't know. That's showing that on your screen too, or if it's possibly just mine, but I have some rear end damage for James Curl now.
I don't have the rear end damage, but you know, it's probably just a matter of the fact that he was blinking. And for those viewers that maybe aren't used to exactly the lag issues on iRacing, you know, you got to keep in mind iRacing basically means internet racing. So if you see those weird little quirks with the simulator where, you know, car may disappear, we saw earlier with the 82, now at the 51, that's basically just an impurity in the internet connection. These guys are all playing from their, or racing from their computer, which is obviously connected through the internet, just like we are broadcasting and watching this. So, you know, if there's a little bit of a hiccup in their connection, that can lead to those blinks like you saw. We call it blinking or flashing in the iRacing community. So maybe if you're a bit of a newer viewer, that's kind of what's going on there. So, you know, it's maybe one of the more unrealistic parts, but you got to keep in mind that that's going to happen with a simulator where there's guys worldwide racing, and you know, just the connections have to span a long distance. And I think we just saw a pit stop possibly from the 4 or 5 truck. Jonathan Mazzella is coming into the pits.
He's going to be the only one to take that opportunity. Added some couple laps through there.
We got a couple of trucks further back. It looks like one of the Boyd brothers, I think they're brothers, they could be father or son, I'm not sure. Rocky Boyd going to come into the pits as Mazzella is now going to pull out. And I'm not sure what truck that is behind it. Maybe the 712? No, that's 51. James Curl came in.
Oh, yep. Now his damage is fixed for me, but his truck for me showed up all beat up, so good to see it. Didn't actually have an incident. It was just
And now the leaders are coming in, the 82, the 41, the 31. They're all making their pit stop, which comes at 38 laps to go. That's kind of when I mentioned they might come in, split it right in half. 38 and 38 makes 76. This is a 75-lap race. So kind of figured we'd see these guys come in right about now, Brennan.
Yeah, like you said, it splits it about halfway through the race, so just about the right time, I'd say, myself personally, to do it. And this is going to give you a lot more clean air here to run a little bit faster rather than running somebody down like a little bit earlier. So We see some people start to break at that lead of Liam Brotherton.
Although with this pit strategy taking place, we now see Kenneth McCullough Jr. taking the lead in that Georgia Bulldogs truck, and he's going to have about a 6/10 of a second lead over the number 3 of Jim Ott currently. These guys have not pitted yet, obviously, so they'll still have to make a pit stop, but they could be waiting on a caution, possibly. They could be trying to wait out a caution and trying to pit then rather than in the middle of a green flag run where you're just going to go right back to where you were. But this is a risky strategy because if you don't get that caution and you still have to pit under green, you're going to lose a lot more time because you're running these older tires for a bit longer. We see Jim Ott getting real close to that wall. That's what you got to be wary of too. You know, these old tires, they're not going to handle just as well as maybe new tires. So you might push up, you might get loose. Any number of things could happen to foil your plan. But right now, Kenneth McCullough Jr. is your leader.
Liam Brotherton, after his pit stop, he cycled out. He's holding 5th place, still on the lead lap here. Other pit stop takers there, like Jonathan Mazzella and Thomas Haley, Rocky Boyd, all of them, they actually ended up going down a lap.
And there you see the difference between new tires and old tires. You saw the 31, blow right by Kenneth McCullough. That's just the difference in speed. You know, you have the new tires that have the grip versus the old tires that are worn out, hot. They aren't gripping the track quite as well. And that's why the 31 went right on by the leader. And actually, their plan's going to work out. They have a caution, and it's right ahead of these leaders, too. Saw the smoke, don't know where it was.
Did a good job of getting off the track right away there.
So we have a car number?
I didn't
Looks
quite
like
catch it, he was gone.
I think it'll be Tony Boyd. And it'll be Tony Boyd. We'll see exactly what happens to him here. The number 52 truck was kind of just running on his own. Looks like Craig Blair had started to catch him. I think he's going to dip down a little too far. Yep, he sure does. Gets right on the apron, gets loose, and he's trying to save the truck. Almost has it here, and then ends up catching the fence on the inside, and he drifts right back up the track into the wall. And I think that'll be him done for the night. But he just made a mistake in turns 1 and 2. We'll get another look at this. A really tough break there for Tony Boyd. I believe Tony Boyd was playing the strategy of staying out a little bit longer as well to try and get some track position. So, he was on, I believe, some older tires. May have been on newer tires, but I think with how Craig Blair kept right with him initially, was probably going to gain some time on him. I think he was on older tires, and we'll see him get a little bit low here in turns 1 and 2, and that's why we're going to ultimately see him go around. We'll go on board with him here as Tony Boyd, the number 52, going to slam that inside wall, then drift up into the outside wall. Not really a whole lot of damage, but it's really going to hurt that truck. And yeah, as you mentioned, a great job of getting off the track right away. You have the option to immediately exit the car, and that'll take the car off the track so that oncoming drivers don't have to deal with your truck stopped in the middle of the track. So basically, it's just for the convenience factor rather than having to wait on a tow truck. So that'll be our first caution of the night so far, and we'll go back up to the leader. That's going to be Liam Brotherton now with pit stops out of the way. And I believe everyone's going to come in and get service to their trucks.
She saw that a little bit of last lap. I saw right when I switched back to him that a couple people were in. Tough break though.
That's my mistake. McCullough, I believe, will still be your leader. I could be wrong. It's a bit weird. It's showing Liam Brotherton in the lead along with Jim Ott in second, but Kenneth McCullough is actually leading this pack here. It could just be a bit of a graphical mistake, but
yeah, I haven't
we'll wait and
Liam
see
in
what
fourth.
goes on. So I think McCullough should still be your leader, and I don't know if they've pitted yet. Do you? Actually, sorry, I'm looking way further back. I haven't gone up to the live TV yet, so that's my bad.
Okay.
Yep.
It happens to all of us, believe me.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, I suppose.
It's a tough breakout there for a couple guys. I think they will get the wave around though. They aren't involved with that. The Craig Blair, CJ Gates, all drivers who had taken or got service right before the caution came out and weren't able to get out in time to stay on the green flag or the lead lap there. Excuse me.
Yeah, we'll see exactly who gets the wave around. I believe if Kenneth McCullough is our leader. Is that right? I think McCullough is our leader, but
It's Brotherton
actually, no,
now.
it should be. Yeah, I was gonna say it should be Ott or Brotherton. So I think Liam Brotherton will now be your leader in the number 41. So everyone ahead of him, the 25, the 4, Kelsey Rogers, the 13, CJ Gates, those guys will all get wave arounds in just a moment. And these guys come around to take one to green. And Liam Brotherton right back out front. He'll have a great chance at stealing this race by an even bigger gap now, because I think he's got obviously the truck to beat. And it looked like maybe the 3 and the 14 weren't quite up to race pace with the other leaders, so possibly could hold up guys like Brett Elmore, James Curl, Daniel Falkingham, who would be trying to get up to the number 41 and try and battle with him for the lead. And as we get ready for the restart here, again, Liam Brotherton will be your leader, followed by Jim Ott to his outside for the restart. It'll be Kenneth McCullough restarting in the 3rd position in the number 14 Georgia Bulldogs truck. To his outside will be the number 9 of Brent Elmore, James Curl in 5th, Daniel Falkingham in 6th. Be Thomas Haley in the 7th spot with Jonathan Mazzella to his outside in 8th, Craig Blair in 9th. And I didn't catch the 10th place truck. It's going to be Rocky Boyd when he comes back around, I believe, to get his wave round completed. You see Tony Boyd back on the racetrack, so that's nice to see. Even after that wreck, he will be back in the race.
A little bit different scoring than you do there for the Kelsey Rogers in 9th and the 10th going to Rocky Boyd. Big Blair in 11th. I don't know if.
Well, as we get ready for the restart here, Liam Brotherton no doubt is your leader, so we'll wait for the pace card to pull in. And now we'll wait on the green flag. Liam Brotherton already off and away in what we kind of call the restart zone. Basically, it's legal in iRacing to pull off or to pull away from the field and restart the race anytime from the pace car dipping into the pits to the sim actually throwing the green flag. So that's a totally legal move there. Liam Brotherton jumping the gun and going early, and it's going to give him a huge lead already over Jim Ott in 2nd.
Lead at the line there, he was up to almost 4/10. Let's see where he can bring it to here as we get ready to cross the line again. Got it almost a whole second now.
Yeah, he's already got a huge lead over Jim Ott, and we'll actually switch back to Jim Ott because he's got a pack of 100 guys right on his bumper. You got James Curl there, who was 2nd place before pit stop started up. Kenneth McCullough Jr., who was able to stay out on that run and get the lead. And they see Daniel Falkingham making the move for 4th place, this time into turns 3 and 4. He's hungry. He wants another win. He won last week at Atlanta. You see Thomas Haley getting back in the battle. He's going to make it 3 wide on the bottom. Haley backs out. He's going to let these guys single file out again. You see McCullough get the run off the top side. Now Haley's going to try and go back for the move on the 82 as he has to fend off that position from the number 5 of Jonathan Mazzella. Jonathan Mazzella going to get hung out to dry on the top side, but he'll have momentum off of turn 2, get the run down the back straightaway, and should clear the number 31 off into turn 3. And actually, he won't yet. Daniel Falkingham had a bit of a checkup there trying to get by the number 14. He won't find a line just yet. You see that 51 has cleared the number 3 of Jim Ott. The number 3 now going to fall into the clutches of Kenneth McCullough Jr. And now you see Daniel Falkingham trying to make work around both of these guys.
A lot of great racing up front right now. Good to see the guys bunched up a little bit more here. They're doing a great job.
Daniel Falkingham really all over the place right now, making some great moves, but that's going to open up the door for Thomas Haley to get in there and try and do some dirty work and try and get on by him. He's going to try and make it 3 wide. He'll think better of it. Won't make the move just yet. These guys are really, like you said, putting on some great racing right now. This is a show that I would not want to miss in person, that's for sure. These guys are really battling really hard. Thomas Haley almost gets up into the 82, almost contact made again. We saw them make contact earlier on in the race, only about 5 laps in, and now Thomas Haley going to get shoveled to the top side, Jonathan Mazzella to the bottom, and now it's going to be Kenneth McCullough that follows in behind the 82. So now the 31 and the 5 will have to deal with the 14, and the 82 will be able to go on and battle with Jim Ott.
Yeah, it's good to see that 31 back up, racing with everybody here. Obviously, he fell off the pace there after getting that damage with the incident with the 82 there, so good to see him being able to hold his weight here. He's putting on a great show.
Yeah, Jonathan Mazzella, though, trying to give him a run for his money as he tries and does battle with the 14. I think they're going to go 3 wide off into turn 3 here. Actually, no, Mazzella backed out. We were on board with the 31 for a second, so the 31, Thomas Haley, going to have all the room in the world to make that pass on Kenneth McCullough. Kenneth McCullough going to fall into, I believe, the sixth spot, as now Jonathan Mazzella will be able to get up there and do battle with that Georgia Bulldog. And actually, Kenneth McCullough trying to come back on the 31, I don't think he's going to have enough to make it happen, and he won't. He's going to fall back into the clutches of the 5 truck, but man, that was some great racing there for a few laps.
Definitely, if we turn the attention towards the front a little bit here, we mentioned that Liam Brotherton got about a second lead coming after the first lap after the yellow there, but it's held at a second. James Curl's doing his best right now to keep him in his ropes, just not quite enough, I think, to catch back up with him, though.
Yeah, Liam Brotherton still setting his sail, but not by quite as much as earlier. James Curl was able to get out of that battle early, keep his tires in one piece as he gets to make the offensive, go on the offensive here, trying to catch up to Liam Brotherton. He may actually have the truck to do it. He's got a pretty speedy number 51 Chevrolet Silverado, and it's looking like he may be able to close that gap to the number 41 if these trends continue, but they rarely do in racing. That's the thing about it, is these trends normally change at some point, so it'll be tough for these guys to actually catch that 41. You know, even if I think you were to take all 4 tires off, I think he'd still be pretty speedy. So, yeah. I mean, James Curl trying to make up any ground he can. Actually, he's starting to make a bit of headway.
Shaved about a 10th off there, that last lap.
Yeah, it's like every once in a while he has these surges where he's able to shave about a 10th off, maybe lose about half a tenth. Looks like 1 and 2 are his stronger corners, 3 and 4 not so much, and that's where Brotherton really lengthens that lead back out. But right now, Liam Brotherton just trying to maintain that lead. It looks like he loses a little bit through 1 and 2, gains it back in 3 and 4. The timing scoring being a bit wonky, but you see it trying to ride itself there at about 78 hundredths of a second between these two right now, and you see it lengthens out of 2. It's going to lengthen out more through 3 and 4. Moving back to this central battle a little further back, though, Thomas Haley has now gotten around Jim Ott. And we had someone in the comments asking where Jim Ott is from, so give me just one moment. We'll bring up the driver description. Looks like he is out of Michigan. So Jim Ott now going back to that 3rd spot in the Exalta Chevrolet, trying to get by the number 31 of Thomas Haley. We haven't seen Jim Ott in this battle all night, but he did mix it up a little bit last week with, I believe, Kenneth McCullough. It may have been someone else that he got into it with. There was a bit of an accident, a bit of a spill, and that was the sole caution, I believe, last weekend. But this weekend, Jim Ott trying to mix it up a bit more. He actually has to get out of the gas, loses a couple of spots, both to Thomas Haley and now Jonathan Mazzella, and now he's falling back into the clutches of Kenneth McCullough Jr. These guys are pretty settled out up in the front. We're going to go ahead and have a bit of a crank it up session, so turn your volumes up. We'll turn the volume up as well, and you can just enjoy the sights and sounds of the iRacing Weekend Warriors cash payout races group here on hand at Kentucky Speedway. Welcome back. With just 14, now almost 13 laps to go, Liam Brotherton starting to fall victim to the James Curl curse. He's starting to move in on Liam Brotherton. Still over half a second back, but compared to Daniel Falkingham and anyone else out in this field, James Curl has done the best job of trying to catch that 41 so far, and he's actually making some headway here, Brennan.
Definitely, as we mentioned a little bit right after that last restart there, he has been the only one so far, like you said, to actually even keep pace, and right now he's actually beaten the pace. I almost wonder if Brotherton maybe is laying back a little bit just to save the tires, that way he can get a good final push out of it here. But so far, it looks like James Curl may have your winning truck tonight if you can get past Liam Brotherton.
Hey now, I brought up possibly Brotherton laying back, but I like that you bring it up because Brotherton could be laying back to try and save tires so that when James Curl gets there, Liam Brotherton can just hook it back up and drive back away from the 51. But he's going to have to start thinking about driving back away. Actually, James Curl gets tied out of turn 2, has to jump out of the gas. He's going to lose about a tenth out of that. And that's one of the critical mistakes that you cannot make when you're trying to run down a guy as fast as Liam Brotherton. So a critical mistake there from James Curl that might thwart his efforts trying to get up there and catch Liam Brotherton. It's going to be even harder now. It was going to be hard before, and it was hard before, but he was making it work, and now it's going to be even harder to get up there and catch that 41 truck. Liam Brotherton really just on rails right now.
Yeah. James Curl falling back almost 8/10 now. He had it almost a half a second, so
and further back, while we come to about 10 laps to go, Liam Brotherton still leading the way. Daniel Falkingham has moved solidly into the third spot, just ahead of Jonathan Mazzella, while Thomas Haley has fallen back into fifth. Kenneth McCullough Jr. has held off Jim Ott so far for sixth. Jim Ott has fallen into seventh. Brett Elmore in eighth. Kelsey Rogers up into the ninth spot. Rocky Boyd in 10th. Craig Blair currently in 11th. CJ Gates currently in 12th. Those guys are both a lap down. And Gregory Sager now is still 2 laps down in the 13th spot. Tony Boyd 4 laps down in the final and 14th position. But Liam Brotherton is actually starting to pull back away from James Curl, so I really wonder if maybe he did actually lay back. I suggested it to you under that break while we went to crank it up, and you brought it up when we came back. It's a likely possibility that Liam Brotherton just played the game better than James Curl, laid back, let Curl get that that mindset that he could go catch him, and as soon as he felt a little insecure about the gap that he had over James Curl, he pulled back away.
They're close. Last time at the scoring line, it was only 200 separating them on the lap time there. Let's see if I can see what they have here. We go 62. James Curl at 33.019, so quicker again. I don't know if he's holding back or not. It's pretty consistent times that he's running, even if he is, but it's definitely go time now, I'd say. Try and pull away.
Yeah, if you're James Curl, you have to throw everything you can at Liam Brotherton right now. He's been doing it throughout this run, but Liam Brotherton, I think, did save tires. It really looks like he may have just saved tires, and now he's going to be able to pull back away from that 51 by quite a bit. I think we can almost solidify the 41 as the race winner tonight. Brad Hall wondering if we'll interview said race winner, and we definitely will. We'll interview a few guys here. Quite possibly just the top 3, but if there's any big storylines throughout the field, we'll make sure to cover those as well. And obviously, you can request an interview if you'd like out in the chat. Anyone watching, if you want to hear from a specific driver, we'll try and key them up after the race ends. So coming to 6 laps to go, that Slip Angle Motorsports truck of Liam Brotherton still pulling away. He's now actually made it about a second lead once again over James Curl, so I think he really was laying back a little bit, letting James Curl get the thought in his head that maybe he could go catch him and try and get this race win, but I think Brotherton has this one in the bag as long as he doesn't make any mistakes or as long as we don't get a caution right about now.
Yeah, you need it right about now or the next lap, I think, would be the... And then if it's next lap, you'd be a 1-lap shootout.
And I want to bring attention to a battle a little further back. That's going to be the 82 and 5. These guys are side by side through turns 3 and 4. Jonathan Mazzella trying to find grip on the inside. It's going to be hard to do. You'll notice from the start of the race, you've gotten a bit of that black strip of rubber that these guys have laid down throughout the race. It's hard to see, but you do see a little bit there, and we can actually bring up the onboard from the number 5 of Mazzella to possibly give you a better illustration of it. into the corners here. Watch for that black strip of rubber that these guys have put down throughout the middle of the corner, and that's what's going to open up the top side. The bottom side really just going to have no grip. It's just the sad reality that the bottom side really has no grip on old tires. You can make it work for a short amount of time on some newer tires, but once you get the tires just worn out, it's hard to do. So if Mazzella is going to try and make a move on Falkingham, it's going to have to be about now, and he's going to have to do it into probably turn 3, the wider of the two corners, with a bit of a slide job. It's going to be hard to do, but if he can get the run just right and time it perfectly to pitch it down to the bottom side and then slide up in front of the 82, he might be able to make this pass, but it's going to be hard to do otherwise. And so this is the battle for third place. These guys going head-to-head, toe-to-toe, Daniel Falkingham, Jonathan Mazzella, trying to work this out. I believe this will be the third and final pay slot for these guys who did pay $5 to race here tonight. I believe it's only the top 3 that get payouts. So these guys are racing for a bit of money, so that might influence some harder racing. We saw it looks like Thomas Haley getting the fence a little behind these guys, but these guys are really putting on a show right here. Jonathan Mazzella trying to find any grip he can. That Floridian driver trying to work that bottom side. Hasn't found grip just yet. I don't know if he can do it here.
Yeah, this definitely, I think, is going to be your show. The 2 trucks to watch for the end of the race here. Liam Brotherton's now walked it out to almost a second lead. So your last pay spot, like you said. So this is where it all pay out, I guess you could say.
And actually, a battle a little further back is Jonathan Mazzella trying to make a move again. But we'll move back to this battle back here. Kenneth McCullough now has Jim Ott to deal with. Jim Ott trying to work that top side, and now he's going to try and work on Thomas Haley up a little ways ahead. Liam Brotherton has the lead in hand by over a second now. He has pulled quite the lead back over the number 51 of James Curl. But moving back to the battle of James Haley and Kenneth McCullough. Kenneth McCullough trying to get some grip, trying to move up on that 31. It looks like he's not going to do it just yet. Little ways ahead, Daniel Falkingham having to deal with the 5. He's going to hold him off. And Liam Brotherton going to pull away to the win. Liam Brotherton, your winner here at Kentucky in the Bluegrass 115 from Kentucky Speedway in the iRacing Weekend Warriors cash payout races group. Further back, Mazzella falls victim to the 82. Will finish 3rd. And McCullough won't make the pass on Haley for 5th. And will not, or actually will hold off Jim Ott for 6th place. So sorry for some frame lag there. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. There was a bit of frame lag once these guys crossed the finish line because of fireworks, but that got sorted out. So thanks for hanging in through that. And yes, Logan Russell Stiver. This is a video game. This is iRacing. I guess it's not exactly a video game. Technically it is, but it's iRacing.com motorsport simulation, and you can check it out if you go to iRacing.com. There's all kinds of these races that go on weekly pretty much, and we're going to be covering a lot next season, so you can just stick with us and really get a feel for what goes on. Liam Brotherton, though, going to be your winner here tonight in the Bluegrass 115, and he's going to burn it down the front straightaway. We're going to line up some interviews with these guys. First off, going to be Daniel Falkingham. Daniel Falkingham, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy? One more time, Daniel Falkingham. This is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy? Looks like we may not be able to key up the number 82 of Falkingham. We'll move him back up for now. We'll move on to the 51, James Crow. We'll get him down here for an interview. James Crow, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, James, it was a lot of fun watching you try and reel Brotherton in there. It looked like maybe you had him about a half a second, then maybe your truck started to get tight. Walk us through those last 10 laps or so.
Yeah, first off, it started with the restart. I knew that he was on older tires than I, only by a lap, but I knew the lap was still an advantage nonetheless. I was stuck back in like fifth on the restart, so he got out to a quick lead, and I just tried too hard to catch him. That's all it came down to. I tore up the tires too quick, and last 10, he was just right even with me. I couldn't stay with him.
Well, James, you certainly did a heck of a job trying to catch him. You really had a pretty good truck under you there. Those last 38 or so laps, whatever we ran in that second stint. You certainly did a great job in that number 51. Is there anyone you want to thank out there?
Just Cameron and Brian for putting it on. We can't come out here and have fun and race clean like this without them being the facilitators of it, and just my team at Accelerated Motorsports.
All right, well, as we watch the replay of you coming home in second place, once more, congrats on the second place finish tonight. You did a great job out there, and we'll be looking forward to seeing more of you in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for putting it on, you guys.
No problem. And that was James Curl in the number 51 truck, who came home in second. And it looks like now we can bring in Daniel Falkingham. Daniel Falkingham, this is Xander Cardinal in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, Daniel tried and keyed you up a little while ago, but you came home third place tonight. You won last week. Great job there, but certainly showing that you're a force to be reckoned with here in the iRacing Weekend Warriors cash payout races group. You did a great job out there in the number 82. Tell us how you did it holding off the number 5 of Jonathan Mazzella.
There's a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck. I mean, I kept riding that outside. I felt like the outside lane on older tires would be the way to go, and that's pretty much my saving grace right there. But Jonathan, he did a great job keeping the pressure, because just one slight mistake, I was going to lose that position. So congrats to him on a good run against me. But yeah, it was a tricky one, but I managed to hold on. So I had a lot of fun in the meantime.
Well, Daniel, with the win last week and this run tonight, got to ask you, do you think you can keep it up? As we announced today that we'll be carrying more of these races here in this group. Do you think you can keep it up and really put on a whomping on the field?
Yeah, tonight certainly didn't show it, but yeah, I've raced with James before. He's a really, really quick driver. But yeah, so it's not going to be your way every week, but I want to try to keep maintaining the consistency. Like you said, I won last week, got third this week. I just want to keep the consistency rolling, and maybe I'll get really, really good in the future.
Well, you've been doing good so far, at least on PSI TV. You've got an average finish of second, so that's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank Cameron and Brian for doing what they do with iRacing Weekend Warriors. It really brings out some of the cleanest racers I've ever raced on iRacing, because we have a lot of good racing and a lot of fun in the meantime. So I got to really thank them, and to thank everybody who watched tonight on PSI TV. I love what you guys do with the broadcast, and I can't wait to have you guys keep going in 2018.
We're certainly looking forward to it ourselves, so we'll let you get back up there with your team, go over this race, and look forward to wherever we're racing next. We'll let you get back up there. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
And that was Daniel Falkingham, who finished third place, in the number 82 Hooters machine. Now we're gonna bring in Liam Brotherton and not Daniel. Sorry, wow, I'm just losing it. Brendan, I'll let you take cover of that.
Ready. Ian Brotherton, this is Brennan in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy with us?
Yes, I do. You got me?
Yep, I got you loud and clear already. So, coming home with the win tonight. Really outstanding performance you had there tonight. Your only real competitor, James Curl there, towards the end, but you were able to keep her out front pretty much all night tonight. The only time you were not leading the race was that pit stop there. What made it possible for you tonight?
Well, thank you all first of all for broadcasting, and again, sorry about my voice. I got sick, so it's a little messed up. And I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for always giving me the opportunity to praise Him in racing. But yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of C-Fix in my time, a slip angle, and it was just nice to take a break from pro and come race some fun trucks again. So I did a little bit of practice and kind of got used to it there at the start. Was just able to save my tires and pulled out a big lead. I decided to stay out at that yellow, thinking other people would too, And so when James got behind me, he had, I'd say, 3 or 4 lap newer tires. So it kind of kept us even on times there for a while, and that was fun. But yeah, it was a good time out there.
Well, Liam, real quick, first off, congrats on that win. You did a great job out there, just drove away from everyone that tried to catch up to you. Is there anyone you want to thank out there for that dominating performance?
Well, as always, Slip Angle Motorsports, I mean, they do so much for me when it comes to pro and everything else that I do. So Brian Blackford, Lisa Pineda, all those people. So yeah.
All right, well, I certainly noticed that Slip Angle logo on your truck, so, I knew you'd be quick. Congratulations on that win tonight. Hopefully we see more of you in the future here with the Weekend Warriors group.
All right, well, thank you, guys.
All right, that was Liam Brotherton, your winner. Sorry to cut that interview short, Brennan and the viewers. Obviously he was sick. I didn't want to keep him talking for too long. He's definitely feeling under the weather, but he was able to make that feel a little bit better as we go off into the new year, taking home the win here tonight. And the large sum of money, we'll get the exact number here in just a moment. I'm going to message Cameron Colby real quick. He is the one that puts on these races. So if you're on Facebook, you want to look into racing with these guys, you can message him on Facebook, or obviously, probably go to the page directly. It's probably the better way to do it. But real quick, you're going to ask him how much money for the winner. And Brendan, really one heck of a race. What are your closing thoughts?
Like we mentioned, Liam Brotherton with a dominating performance tonight. James Kroll really possibly could have had it there if he maybe not pushed so hard, but it was definitely a lot of good, clean green flag racing there. Obviously, we only saw the one caution, which for some of the leagues we broadcast that, I don't see them ever being able to run a race like that, especially at a track like this where you really demands a lot from you. So overall, a good show to put on by them. So it's a good night tonight. A lot of green flag racing, like I said. Good performance.
Yeah, it really was a great performance from these guys here tonight, and I have the numbers for cash amounts. It looks like it's going to be $31 to the winner, 18 to second place, and 9 to third. So that's the difference even between one spot. Sometimes you see that $13 difference initially, then down to 9. I mean, pretty big differences. Pretty good reasons to come out and race with these guys. Only $5, and if you can manage to finish in the top 3, you can get some cash out of it. Now, real quick before we close off the race here tonight with the Weekend Warriors group, want to mention that this coming week, our main show here on PSI TV will be the K-Vegas Snowball Derby weekend. We won't be broadcasting the qualifiers, but on Friday night, you can catch us live from Five Flags Speedway in the Great Late models, and we'll have the Larson Remodeling Snowflake 100 on hand. That should be a great race. That one will be under the lights and fixed setups. Just basically a fun run, 100 laps at Five Flags Speedway. Should be a lot of fun. There will be money in that race, as well as the next one. That will be the K-Vegas Snowball Derby, and that will be a full 300 lap event in the afternoon down there in Pensacola, Florida. That should be a lot of fun to watch, and I'll have the honor of calling it myself. I was going to race, but ended up deciding to broadcast instead, so I'm not sure if you're racing or broadcasting, Brennan, but either way, be looking forward to that race next weekend. You can contact the K-Vegas Snowball Derby Facebook page. It's totally free to race, so if you have Five Flag Speedway, if you have those couple of late models, you can show up, and it's totally free to race, totally free to come out and even just try and qualify into the race, and there will be some giveaways given out, possibly some random driver drawings given out to just random guys throughout the field. So it's really worth it. It's free, and you might get some money. So I want to thank you for coming out here and broadcasting this race with me, Brendan. It was a lot of fun. Got to thank Cameron Colby, Brian Vaughn, and everyone else at the iRacing Weekend Warriors group, along with Colby's Eye Paints, Monkey Motorsports, iRacing Drivers World, TN Designs, BA Graphics, Pit Stop Insider, everyone else that makes this happen, all of Mobile Fleet Repair, Scott Brothers and Images, obviously our leagues that we broadcast, the Dirt Racing Challenge Series, MNTS, All-Star Sim Racing, and more. I want to thank everyone for this race tonight. And that'll be it for the year for 2017. We'll be back in just a few days in the new year with some great racing. And that's going to be it here tonight from Kentucky Speedway. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and have a great new year.